Now, I do want to talk about Garnacho, though, because he is moving to Aston Villa, looks like. People not happy about it, Dino.
Garnacho. No, I'm in the Aston Villa group chat, my mates.
Yeah.
Big Villa fans, and I listen to what they say, you know, how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And at the minute, they're all ultra positive.
About Garnacho?
Well, about everything that Unai Emery does, really. They trust him.
Yeah, of course.
And some of them have even said that's a good profit on Morgan Rogers, considering what we paid for him. And we have to get some money from somewhere. So we've made a good profit on him.
You sold the best player, though.
But they've sold the best player, which deep down, I think all of them will be thinking, how can we sell our best player and buy Garnacho, who's a problem child, everywhere he's been?
How did you deal with a problem child, Dean? You've been a manager. I'm sure you've dealt with problem childs. How did you deal with that type of... Because Unai Emery has had history of this. He's brought in players who, you know, Rashford, Sancho. I'm sure he's done it at clubs as well previously. I remember his Spanish team, he had players who, you know, lost their way a little bit. So he obviously has it in his head that he can get the best out of Garnacho.
Well, the only thing, he signed, like you said, Sancho and Rashford, and he's thinking about breaking away at teams. And you can see him running with the ball. You got 8 seconds to score in training. You can see him doing that session. You know them sessions that you used to put on that you ruined? when you counter-attack, you know, like you put a session on, throw the ball in. I
did not ruin them training sessions.
Yeah, I used to say, you're not allowed to pass the ball backwards. When we break, it's got to end up in their net 8 seconds.
I never pass the ball backwards.
So that means people have got to run forward, which is what the bit you didn't like. Running past the ball. Anyway,
like the ball run.
Yeah, going back to Garnacho. So I think he's seeing that. He needs players who can, the way we set up, highlight, break, and we've got pace. But Arthur Cox, my old manager at Derby, when I was manager of Wrexham, he once rung me and said, how are you doing? How's it going? And he's asking, like, yeah, not bad, yeah, doing all right. He goes, don't forget, son, sign players who've done well for someone else. Don't sign players that haven't done well from someone else and you think you can change them. You might be able to make a run somewhere or make a run the other way, but you'll never change the character. Don't think you can. You can't change the character. It's formed. So sign players who've done well for someone else. So we all think as managers, I'll have him. But why have Man United got rid of him? Why have Chelsea got rid of him? What's going on behind the scenes? Which at one point, from a good source, I heard he was arguing with Amorim about tactics. A couple of months after Amorim got there, Amorim saying, "I want you in here when the ball's over there," and he's arguing with him. Like he's 19, is he?
Yeah, 19? Well, he's around that. Yeah.
So you've got to be careful.
But he's a talented football player.
I don't care. You can ruin the dressing room. They players like that test you every day. The discipline, which is what you need for the harmony to be at the club. Once you got players testing you every day, like you get players coming in late every day, it's testing your authority. Your best player is late every day. So say Messi turns up late every day.
Do what you want, mate.
And you don't say to him,
do what you want,
Lionel, I'm fining you.
Score that trick in a weekend. Do what you want.
What about the youngsters then who are turning up late then? And the rest of the group go like, he's fining the youngsters. He don't fine Messi. So it's like a dilemma you've got.
Wait there, because the darts has finished. Let's get back to Mark Wilson.
Yeah, James Wade, former champion here, is through the quarterfinals once again. He's beaten Ryan Searle 11-8. The decisive moment really came in the 16th leg, leading 8-7. Wade checked out a magnificent 1-4-3 to go to clear and didn't look back. He is through to the last 8. He'll take on Jan van Veen. Tomorrow night, the quarterfinals start live on talkSPORT 2 at 7:45, where Dirk van Duivenbode will take on Gary Anderson, and the defending champion Luke Littler will take on Josh Rock. Get Wade through in the final game of the night. He's beaten Ryan Searle by 11 legs to 8.
Okay, thanks, mate. Yeah, look, just going back to Garnacho then. So would you not sign Garnacho?
I think if you asked all the Villa
fans...
You
signed
Juve. Yeah. Well, you sign players and you think, sometimes you've got no money and you've got no option. But when you've got a load of money, I think right now the Villa fans will be thinking, we've sold our best player and we're signing Garnacho. They'll be thinking like that. Yeah. Even though they trust Unai Emery, maybe you should have signed him right at the end of the window. And signed someone to say to the fans, we're not going backwards.
Yeah.
We're going that way. Don't worry. We're not shopping in LIDLs. We're We're shopping in Marks and Spencer's. Top shelf players we're looking at. That's what Villa need. They need top Champions League players.
Yeah.
They need to sign players like...
But they haven't, though.
Playing for the biggest clubs.
But they haven't.
No, because they've been restricted financially, which is a bit...
Good sow on in Lidl. Good
that's
sow.
where you get Garnacho and Sancho. And you get them like 2 for the price of 1 in Lidl's. The ones in Waitrose.
Chelsea have gone straight to M&S, mate. Gone for the big spuds.
Well, Spurs are in Sainsbury's, aren't they?
Well,
with Van Hecker.
Yeah, I think we're Sainsbury's.
Tonali.
Tesco's all right. We're in a decent store.
Yeah.
Tonali.
No disrespect
Tonali's
to
M&S.
Lidl.
Come on,
Tonali.
Yeah,
I would say Tonali Sainsbury's. No, he's not quite Waitrose.
No, he's up there.
But he's not Lidl.
He's not Lidl. Garnacho's Lidl. Let's go to Andy. He's a Villa fan. Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, I'm Jammer. Dino, how's it going, lad?
Not bad.
I'm all right, matey. Look, obviously you've lost Morgan Rogers, but Garnacho, how you feel about the situation?
Well, I just wanted to call up and give a bit of balance on the whole situation, really. Maybe play a little bit of devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I was listening to Gabby and Rory Jennings this morning and their evaluation of Garnacho, and I thought it was a bit shameful, really, the way they were talking about him. Like he can't kick a ball. They've never seen him go past a player. His attitude's this, attitude that. Like, basically saying he's a crap footballer. Like, I always remember when he's played against Villa or any game I've watched with him being in, thinking he's a pretty decent player. Do you know what I mean? He looked dangerous. Remember him ripping us a new one at Villa Park the one time. So I just went on, just to play devil's advocate, went on, had a little bit of a highlights reel on YouTube, as you do, 17 minutes of his highlights. And you can't tell me that that's a bad player. Some of them, like, skinning players, like, scoring some amazing goals, really good assists, like.
No, mate, that's YouTube, guys. I look good on YouTube.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Jamie. Jamie, that's what I'm saying. So this is why I wanted to give a bit of a balance, right? So, but you can't tell me there's a bad player there with some of them finishes and the way he can run with the ball. I mean, Gabby Agbonlahor was great for Villa. Don't get me wrong, I love the lad. Scored some great goals. Gabby did not have what I saw on them highlight reels, okay? All respect to the lad. And Rory Jennings is just a critic who's never kicked a ball, right?
But Gabby was a good
Well, I'll give you my... You might disagree with me, right? I'll give you my honest opinion. You might disagree with me.
Yeah.
He's got bad attitude.
Okay, but, I mean, is that the be-all and end-all? From what I've heard about from Chelsea side, he's actually been a good lad there. Good attitude, like... What
do you do for a living?
Problems with him.
What do you do? What do you do for a living?
Engineer.
Right. So the lad working alongside you, the lad who works with you, if he's got a bad attitude, you don't like going to work, do you?
No, but I mean, you help.
No matter how good he is.
Talk to him. But I mean, okay. So this wasn't really my point about his attitude. I was more on about the player.
But that's the most important bit of being a footballer.
We understand he's he's a talented football player, but you've got to have the full package.
Yeah. So the highlight reel, like, angle that I wanted to take is the same with Morgan Rogers. Like, a lot of people watch Match of the Day, see the highlights and think, wow, what a world-class player. I have watched every game he's ever played, and he goes missing for weeks, for months, in fact. Head down, the amount of times he's given the ball away this season, it's incredible. So Rory's angle,
you can't compare Morgan Rogers
away all the time.
You can't compare Morgan Rogers to Garnacho.
No, but you can compare this, Jamie, right? When Morgan Rogers came to Villa, how old was he? 21, 22?
Yeah.
Same age as Garnacho. He had not got that back catalogue from playing with Bournemouth, Man City, Middlesbrough that Garnacho has got. So now he's coming to Unai Emery, who's made Morgan Rogers from the 8 million player that started at Bournemouth, right, into the now 117 million player, Unai Emery. And I tell you how, with belief, with time, playing him every single game, playing him when he's out of form, and he's made him into that player. So there's nothing that tells me that Unai Emery can't do.
But Morgan Rogers has done that as well, though, right?
Why do the Villa fans like Ollie Watkins?
Because he tries. I've seen Ollie Watkins
good attitude.
Ball away more than you can imagine. Run into space, just do nothing with it, give it away. So frustrating, but we love him because of his
bottom line, 7 out of 10 through effort. So you're not going to get that from Garnacho. You'll get a 9 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10.
I'd hope to differ, Dino. I really would. I'd like to walk into this with a positive attitude, which Unai Emery is doing. Yeah. So if Unai Emery's got that positive attitude towards it, why should I be any different?
Well, I agree with that.
Pulling the strings.
No. Look, listen. You make some good points, and maybe he can, and maybe Unai Emery believes that he can get the best out of him, and we will see.
He must do.
But when you talk, let me finish. When you talk about Morgan Rogers, and I get like Morgan Rogers goes to Villa and he's become a top player, right? And I get that, and Unai Emery has massively helped him. But Morgan Rogers wanted to become a top player. Morgan Rogers believed in it himself. Morgan Rogers went out there and made it happen.
What makes you think that Garnacho don't want to be a top player?
Because that's what we've seen.
Yeah, but he's only young as well, though, and he's still there. I mean, we will see. We will see. But, I mean...
Hey, it's hard to disagree with Unai Emery, isn't it? About anything.
And they got trust.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to disagree with him, but we got to have an opinion.
All right, Andy, listen. Great call, mate. Great call.